Good morning, Rabbi Sai. It's a shtickle delay. So we're not going to record it again, but we can do it over. Fine. I'm here in a little intimate. Usually when I'm in the Five Towns, I give the shiur from my brother's basement. But it's a big schus for me to be here in the Belsky home, Mati Belsky's home. And his father is here, Mr. Belsky, brother, Shalom Aleichem. He's been on the left side just a few days ago in Ramat Bet Shemesh. Yishkar for hosting. The Belskys are tremendous Balei Chesed and very big supporters of the shiur. In fact, soon you're going to see the brand new chairs in MDY. It's a $20,000 gift to MDY, so Yishkar for that. Yishkar for Mati's sponsoring a lot of Mesechtes Kiddushin. He's looking for more Mishtatvim, right? You're not doing all of it, are you? I don't want to put you on the spot. Well, Kiddushin is one of the Mesechtes that we're going to Bezer Shem. So Yishkar for having us. It's Lilu Nishmas. Today's shir is Lilu Nishmas. Mati and Mr. Belsky's son, Mati's brother. What's the name? I wrote it down here. Simcha Beryl David Ben Avram Moshe Olav Shalom and Shalom Shanav and Aliyah. We're all going to get to know that name because it's going to be plastered on the back of the cheers. In small, very small, right? Tiny. All right, so here I am. I came this morning to New York, but then I made a emergency trip to Chicago. Was there for 2 hours and came back. So here I am. It is 3 a.m. for me, Gershon, Yishkar Gershon for coming, all the way from Eretz Yisrael with this unbelievable. Here, show them what this looks like. Our new travel case. What is this? No, it's Seder. Shimshi Schlafberg is here, Yishkoyach, all the way from Ramat Bet Shemesh. So, not to forget, just because you're here tonight doesn't give you a tour for coming out tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be in Brooklyn. We're going to have over 1,000 people for sure. And it promises to be an amazing evening as well. So, let's get the show on the road. Today, I don't want to say the Omer yet. Yeah? Oh, Ruspas Mordechai. Lili Nishmas Ruspas Mordechai. Mati's wife's principal from Beis Yaakov Ramapo. Yishkoyach. So, yesterday was 40 days in the Omer, which is 5 weeks and 6 days. It's dark outside, but we don't want to say the Omer yet. We didn't have a Ma'ariv, so Yosef is going to put it up there. You can see it, yeah. Hi, Rav Eli, thanks so much. You and your team for sending me the Gemara Sotah, a big shkoyach to Dov Right, good friend of mine, for putting me on your shiur, loving it. The picture is me and Rav Pelatowski. He gives the shiur. Thanks again. Tony Horowitz, Johannesburg, South Africa. I love all these cool places, Johannesburg, South Africa. Muncie firefighter Morty Strauss, seen diving away on Lag BaOmer, standby. Shmilu Hofman, Muncie firefighter since Ksubas, check this out, in the fire truck in Muncie. We have audio?
What are we doing? What's happening over here?
What are you talking about? It was cool, you didn't hear what he said. No. I don't think he said anything. Dr. Jacob Orbach. Yaakov Orbach from Kew Gardens Hills. Doctor. Hello, Rav Eli. I'm making my third Sima Shas. You hear this? Today, Rabbi Isai is the final daf of Mesechtes Sotah, which is one of the most fascinating Mesechtes in Shas, right? We all loved it. It's geschmack. Many words per daf. The good news is that we're starting Gittin tomorrow, and the dafim are tiny. At least the first one. I don't know what to do. So he made his third Sima Shas with his father. The cycle begins at Gittin and ends with Sotah. We started in 2001. We're both looking forward to you coming to Queens for Daf 4 of Gittin. So yes, we'll be in Queens also. Is that you? Who's doing Queens? You're doing it? Yeah. Rabbi Kessler himself is doing it. You heard that whole thing with Kessler and Kramer? Yeah. You saw the thing, we don't talk about it on the shiur. We don't want to say, but it was a very interesting thing to say the least. Well, looking forward to you coming to Queens. I really thought he was related to you. Seriously, that's what happened. I don't know why. You have a brother that looks a little bit like him?
Maybe. Our sons are best friends, though.
You see that everything, there's something going on there. I try to listen to you in my car in the morning and like to encourage some things you say when I learn with my father at night. Keep up with your good work. You see that? Mr. Belsky, he talks to his father about the daf, like you were telling me. Talk to your son, you talk to your son-in-law. All right. Now you gotta convince this guy to come. We had an extra special Shabbos here in North Miami Beach, says Perry Dubinsky. I'm sure you're aware your father was here. I just became aware that he moved from Eretz Yisrael to Miami. He forgot to mention it to us. And people, they spotted him there and they were sending me pictures like, what's going on here? So he was a sandik at a bris at the koil. So I went there for Musaf so I can meet him. From the time I got there until they called him up for Sunday calls, which was almost an hour, he did not pick up his head from the Gemara he was learning, which was the first paragraph of Megillah. Whoever was at my son's chasana, there's some people, anybody here that was at my son's chasana? Maybe you.
Me.
Also, he didn't take out his head from the Gemara the entire wedding. Mark, true?
100%.
Yeah.
And
And
the talus.
the talus. After the bris, which was packed with people, you could see how besimcha he was. Men started lining up to ask for brachas. When it was my turn, he gave me all the time in the world as if it was just two of us. I told him I'd listen to his son's shir, starting with Menachem Toporowitz, and he smiled from ear to ear. I don't think there's anything else I could have told him that would have given him more nachas. I got a lot of chizik meeting him, and the entire experience added another dimension to the incredible schus we all have being part of MDY family. All the best, Perry. All right, so that's it for today. Rabbi said the Koil sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. The Masechet sponsored by Mr. Eli Stefansky, Nishmas Menachem Toporowitz, Menachem Mendel, Ben Yebal Yeshua Dov Toporowitz. The Parnas HaChodesh is Nishmas Chai Bas Yosef. I think Toporowitz is almost a month. No, anybody remember when he's nifter? Parnas HaChodesh Nishmas Chai Bas Yosef. Parnas HaChodesh Nishmas Zechrya ben Moshe. Paras HaChodesh, Eliyahu, Rav Eli, ben Yosef, Menachem, Mendel. Paras HaYoim, brain intact. Should be Zoicha to Nachas Kedusha, tremendous success in all my endeavors. Second Paras of the day, Lurfuas is Sachadoi ben Dvora, Elishev, Latzlachas, Aharon ben Yutah. And the Paras HaYoim, Saul Setton, in honor of my dear father, Eli Setton F263, who inspires me to learn and help others. The art of the month for a complete refuah. For Chaim Tzvi ben Leah, Rabbi Isa, here we go. Amazing daf.
Menachem was there for the night of the Chicago scene.
The night of, that's right. But that was more than 40 days ago. Okay, so it's way past the shleishim. What? Oh, I think it's the very, very first time that there's going to be a siyum in Boston, Massachusetts, where my mother is from. Montreal. We never had a siyum in Montreal? We did, okay. So check it out, mdysiyum.com, for all the other siyumim and all the other different places. We're holding Daf Yomi Beis, Upasku Anshe Amana. Talking about from the Churban Abayis, Upasku Anshe Amana, 4 lines from the bottom. The people that have emunah, faith, they're finished, no more. Omar Rabbi Yitzchak Elu Bnei Adam Shehein Ma'aminin B'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we have to see Rashi. Rashi says a beautiful thing here. What does it mean that they believe in Hashem? Levatrim amoinam l'noi hidur mitzvah. They spend a lot of money on beautiful Sefer Torah, beautiful esrig, u'litzedakah, to give tzedakah, u'leitzai Shabbos v'yam tovim. I have a question for the Olam. Rashi says 3 things. These are people that spent a lot of money on mitzvahs for the hidur mitzvah, to beautify mitzvahs. They gave a lot of tzedakah, and they spent a lot of money for Shabbos and Yom Tov. What do these 3 things have in common? Shamshinu. What do these 3 things have in common? I'm telling you Pshat and Rashi now. Tell me if you like the Pshat. These 3 things have in common that HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised us. Very good. Mati Shver, got it. These are things that if you spend on, you'll get your money back. If you spend money on Eitzah Shabbos, you get your money back. You give tzedakah, aser b'shul shetisasher, I'll get it back. Levu alai, the Gemara says. Same thing with hidur mitzvah. You spend on hidur mitzvah, you get it back. The people stopped having emunah. They don't believe it for real. If somebody, a big Talmud Chacham came and said, "Why do you here? This beautiful castell here." So almost every Shabbos I have a Baal castell. So I said, what are you spending so much money on wine? I said, it doesn't cost me, it's free. He didn't believe it. But he's the guy that darshans to me all the time. You have to have emunah, and you have to believe that all your Yitzhak Shabbos come back. So why don't you believe it on a bottle of wine? I don't know. Because he has chsar emunah. It's good for the challah and this cheap stuff. Once you have to pay big bucks, then all of a sudden, maybe atkan. I don't know if HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give you all that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives it all back, no matter what. It's beautiful. Says the Gemara, the Sanya Rebbe Eliezer Agadol Omer. Who's Rebbe Eliezer Agadol Rabbi Yisai? We're learning big Yisaitis today. The famous Rebbe Eliezer. The Rebbe Eliezer that we always see. His name is Rebbe Eliezer Agadol Omer. Call me Sheshli Pas Besalo. You have bread. Voimer Ma Oichal Machar. But he's all worried and concerned what he's going to eat tomorrow. Eino Yelu Miktani Amana. You hear this? He doesn't have emunah. Because a person has emunah, true emunah, doesn't worry about tomorrow. In other words, it's telling us you shouldn't worry so much about parnas and stop working so much and stop. Because if you do, you don't have real emunah. Real bal emunah, bal b'tachan, he has bread for today, that's it. Tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow Kosh Baruch will provide for him. Ktani amana. V'hainu domer Rebbe Elazar. Again, I'm not promoting not to work. Just not as much. Not as much. The 10-hour day thing is no good. V'hainu domer Rebbe Elazar. Ma'idach siv. Kimi vaz l'yoyim katnus. Mi garland tzadikim she's bazbez shulchanim lasad lavoi. Katnus shahayabem. Who's going to rip up the beautiful table that they're supposed to get in the world to come? This pettiness, the small shahayabem shloim minu b'kadosh baruch hu. They didn't trust Hashem. Rav Amar eluktani b'nei risha Yisrael. This is amazing. If a Rasha has a young son that was nifter, shevim bazben din aviyam lasad lavoi. It rips up the din of the father. Why? See, this could be an achama for all those people later that went through this. But this is even Rishaim, it says here. That the child comes to Rebbeinu Shalom and says, look, you chepped my father when he was alive. Look at the tsar you gave him. So you're going to give him tsar now in Olam HaEmes? And that rips up the Gzar Din, the Gemara says here. You ever knew this Gemara? Check it out. Underline it. Omer Rabbi bar Yivrechia. And now we're going to say a bunch of things from Rabbi Eli. If not for the tefillah of David HaMelech, then Klal Yisrael would be selling grease. And because of David HaMelech, we sell real estate, nursing homes, all sorts of cool things. But otherwise we'd be selling revav, like the worst of the worst. Shenemar, Shisa Hashem, Moyer Lohem. So you got to see this Rashi. There's a few amazing Rashis here in this daf that we have to see inside. It's like 10 lines from the top. 10 Lohem, Morus, Loison, Anim, Oisheshu, Goyim, Loistem Behem, Kavod. So Rashi says an unbelievable thing. Why did David HaMelech daven for this? The Goyim, and we see this, Goyim should respect Jews. If Jews only sold grease, then the guy is going to think that he's a god. He's so special, and the Jews are nothing. So at least they respect us. Now, the problem is that we give it to them a little bit too much with our beautiful cars and houses and this and that. The neighborhood that I live in Lincolnwood, the Goyim went crazy over there. Like they made all these laws that the Jews can't build beautiful homes. That's what we were doing. But it was like in their face. They don't like it. But the point Rashi says is, they should at least know that we do okay, because otherwise they would really stamp us. That's what Rashi says. They'll treat us with complete disrespect, and they would say we're gods. Okay, next, interesting Rashi. Without the tefillah of Chavakuk, people would be so poor, the Talmidim would be so poor, they would use like one shirt. I don't know if you ever zayich to see this. I once saw with my own eyes a chassid going into shul for mincha, and he didn't have a gartel, so he borrowed his friend's gartel while the friend was still davening. So shnayim miskasim and gartel echad, and they were both shuckling away there. Givaldic stuff. Anyway, you weren't zayich? Nobody? Could be I wasn't either. I don't know. Maybe I just made it up. Shenemar Hashem shamati shimacha yeresi Hashem ba'olcha bekerev Shonim Chayeu, says the Gemara, Al Tikru Bekerev Shonim Elo Bekiruv Shnayim, that the two of them are close because they're wearing the same shirt. Two Talmidim Chacham are walking in the way, they're going in the way, and they're not talking and learning. Ruin the Sar of Be'esh, the Chayiv Misa, Shenemar. It's talking about Eliyahu and Elisha. There was a chariot of fire that went by them, didn't consume them. Why? Time of dibur, because they're talking and learning. Like a dibur, ruin the sarif. Yeah, we Baruch Hashem, when we go on the way, we learn Torah, we learn the daf. So we're not roy the sarif. Baruch Hashem. Says the Gemara. V'amar Rav Eli bar Yevrechya. Shtei Talmidei Chacham adorim birachas ve'nochim ze lezeh b'halacha. Two Talmidei Chacham, they live in one city, but they don't discuss halacha. They don't agree with each other. They don't want to give each other the information. They're scared. I don't know if the pshat is like they're worried that the other guy's gonna be better than them, learn his whatever it is. They're not together with each other on the same page in halacha. Echad meis ve'echad goyla. Again, there's an interesting Rashi. We won't have to see inside, but Rashi says that the one that dies and one goes to Galus, they do it to each other. One kills the other guy, and therefore he has to go to Galus. It's not stam. He dies and he goes to Galus. No, because they should have been together on the same page. Now one is going to kill the other. There was a Maisa the famous Maisa with the Vilna Gaon, that some lady had a shayla on a chicken, and she went to the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon said that it's treif. And some other person in the family, I think, went to the Rav of the city of Vilna, and the Rav said it's kosher. So the Rav went to the Vilna Gaon and said, listen, I have a problem. People are not going to respect me. If your psak goes, they won't respect me. I'm the Rav of the city. I want you to come to my house and eat the chicken in front of everybody. So the Vilna Gaon said, okay, and he went to the house. And the wife was so nervous because the Vilna Gaon was at her house, plus the Rav, that when she was serving the chicken, she hit the candle, and the candle was chaylev. And the chaylev went into the chicken and became treif to begin with, and whatever the pshat over there was. Okay, so but the point is that the Talmidei Chacham have to be on the same page, they have to discuss halacha, be together, and not fight. Shenemar Lonus Shomar Ritzach Asher Yitzach Es Re'eu Bivli Das. What's Bivli Das? Eza Chacham Haloim Kaladam. Yeah, the people that are afraid to ask for directions, they're afraid to ask for advice. But a smart person, he takes advice from everybody. Because you never know. I mean, you get a bunch of different ideas and you can make your own, you can have your own opinion. But when you hear different ideas from different people, it helps out. You never know what somebody will be mechadish to you. Nidmu ami mibli hadas. Yeah. Everything going okay? Says the Gemara, Omer Rav Yudah Breder Rav Chia. If a Talmid Chacham learns Torah without Parnasa, without a lot of Parnasa, and we in Eretz Yisrael, we know many, many, many people like that. You can imagine. The Koil guys make about 1,000 shekel a month for first Seder, which is less than $300. And a lot of them have 10, 15 kids. Just imagine. The Tchak. They learn Torah Mitoch Tchak. Tfilas and Ishmas. He has a special in with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, his tefillah is heard. Shenemar. Ki am betzion yeshiv Yerushalayim, bochoy leisifka. You don't even have to cry. Because yeshiv am betzion yeshiv Yerushalayim, referring to Talmid Chachamim, they don't have to cry. Cholon yichoncha lekol zakecha. He'll listen to your scream, b'sham. Kishamasoi onach. If I'm not reading it correctly, because I can't see so well, it's a cough, right? I hope. Uchsiv asrei, v'nosan Hashem lochem lechem tsar, very little bread, umayim lochatz, barely any water. Rav Oimer, mazbi noisoi, miziv ashchina, gets the ziv ashchina, shenemar v'hoyo enecha, roises merecha. You'll see, kilu kavyochel the Rebbeinu Shalom, Revacha bar Chanina Amar, af eina pargud ninal b'fanav. The mechitza, the curtain, won't be separating him and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shenemar v'leikanav oid merecha. So the Mishnah says that every single day there's a curse. So what the Gemara wants to do here is tell us that the curse is worse. Every day gets worse and worse and worse. How do we know? Every day gets worse. Every day you're going to say, I wish it was night, and at night you're going to say, I wish it was day. Now what is he referring to? Hey boiker, why would a person say at night, hey, I wish it's tomorrow? Maybe tomorrow is worse. El the Chalif. The pshat is, we're talking about at night, he's talking about the morning that passed. He says, I had it so good in the morning. I forgot the Maisa. There was a Maisa with Eliyahu Navi, I think. He said it once, but if I don't remember the details exactly, maybe I shouldn't say it. But it was to the point where there's a poor person who's complaining. So Eliyahu Navi did something to him where it got worse. And he said, "No, how are you now?" He says, "Oh, it's terrible, even worse." And how are you now? Worse. And finally, I think Eliyahu, no, we put another poor person right next to him. So everything he collected, he only collected 50% of what it was yesterday. And he said, "Oh, now I chap. Like, I should have been appreciative when it was okay. Why did I complain on day one?" Right? You remember such a Maisa? No. Made it up. Vela almo amai kamakayim. The boy said, here comes something amazing, mamish, amazing. Seriously. Look at these words here. I can't tell you where it is because it's like 40 lines from the bottom and 52 lines from the top. It's somewhere, well, it's like 2/3 from the top. Okay? Ve'elo almo amai kamakayim. Why is this world in existence? We have so many, it says we don't have Bali Muna anymore, we don't have this, we don't have that. So what's going on? Why do we deserve to live even? Listen to this. Akdusha de Sidra. It's because we say Uvalatzion every day. Vayeheshmei Rabba. And when there's a shir, like now, people come together to learn Torah. All sorts of people. Usually on Shabbos, you have Amaratzim and Tamil Chacham, they come together to learn Torah. And you get up afterwards and you say, Yeheshmei Rabba. So what are you doing? You're making a Kiddush Hashem. You're uplifting Hashem's name right after you learn Torah. So for this, you have to see Rashi. This, Rabbi Isai, is the Rashi of MDY. It's not about the Daf, it's about the Yomi. Here's the Rashi. Agdusha de Sidra. You ready? Why? He said I was going to say it?
That's your favorite line.
Yeah, but I never say it. I don't always say it. Today, the final Daf of Sotah. You see it? Rabbi Isai, Agdusha de Sidra. Say the Gdusha, this is a Volatzion. Shletiknua Elosh Yukal Yisrael Oiskim Bat Torah B'chol Yoim Davar Muat. That everybody should be learning Torah every single day, even if it's a little bit, but every single day. Every single day. You hear this? Uvalatzion. It talks about all the stuff, all the psukim. We're learning Torah a little bit, just Uvalatzion, every day. Even on Shabbos we say Uvalatzion. That's Yomi. And that's why the world exists, the Gemara says. Why is the world Kayam? Because we learn just a little bit, Davar Muat, of Torah every day. Huh? Doesn't say Chesed every day. Doesn't say Tefillah, Torah every day. That's why the world exists. Unbelievable. Okay. Lamaisa Nisanol, I got to tell you, Beroi Vambeida, because you really want to do the Daf, and because you really did Daf Beis, and now you're here on Daf Mem Tes, because Baruch is going to be mitzaref the whole thing. You got that sandwich, and you can make a siyum here with everybody. And Beis Hashem, you're going to finish Gittin with us.
You got a free Gemara for recruiting me.
Woo! No, it's not. I'm not trying to shtach you. I'm telling you, I know you want to.
Tomorrow night you'll do Daf Beis.
No, tomorrow night he's going to be running in the hallway. That's the problem. All these haschalas, he's running around. Now he's relaxed. All right, where are we? Oh, 50 lines from the bottom.
Tomorrow he'll believe I knew his age.
Eretz, a fasa. A fasa is like a lashon of darkness. The land is dark. Oifel tzalmaves. Gam ke'elech begeit tzalmaves is like death. V'lois darim. If you don't have a seder, you hear this? The Gemara says, if you don't have a seder, you don't have the consistency. Hayesh sedarim. If you have a seder, a kavua, kvios, of learning the daf, of learning Torah, the daf is even more than a volunteer, right? Toifia me'oifel, we're gonna appear from the darkness. So since then we don't have since the Churban we don't have the dew that's a bracha dew, and we don't have flavorful fruit anymore. Tahara bitlo tam bereach. Now that we're not makbid on taharas, tum and tahara on the fruit, so that we no longer have the taste and the smell. Meiser, because we don't do meiser anymore, bitl shoymin dagan, so we don't have that oily geschmacka flour. Rav Huna, listen to this. Rav Huna, Shalom Aleichem. Rav Huna ashkach temarta de chinunisa. Rav Huna came upon a special date called a chanunisa. It's a very creamy date. It's a different type of date, says Rashi. Shakla karcha besudare. He treated it with respect. He wrapped it up. Also, Rabba Berei. Rabba Berei the Rav Huna comes along. Omarle morchina reicha de chininusa. He was able to smell the date through the cloth. Omarle bini tahari yeshbecha. I could tell that you're tar. Why? Because the whole reason why we can't smell the fruit the way we used to smell the fruit, and we don't taste the fruit like we used to taste the fruit, is because we don't have tahara anymore. But from the fact that you're able to smell it, that means that you have tahara. So what does it tell us? L'chayra, it tells us that fruit actually does smell very good, and it does taste very good. We are not tahar. But if you were tahar, you would taste this fruit on a whole different level. That's what it says here. I think that's the pshat. He was able to smell something and nobody smelled. Says the Gemara, Yav and Halei. Rav Huna gave it to his son. Says the Gemara, Adachi, also Abba Berei, Abba, the son of Rabba, which is the grandson of Rav Huna. So you have Rav Huna, the grandfather. Rav Huna, the grandfather, gave it to his son Rabba. Shows up Abba, and I'm not exaggerating. On the flight from Eretz Yisrael to here, I was busy thinking about this Gemara for a while. I wanted to do like what is it called? Amelos Atayra, not just Daf. I was thinking about this point right here. It bothered me, and if somebody has a better pshat than me, please let me know. Shakli Yahavan sorry. So Rabba, who received the gift from his father, gave the date over to his own son, which is Rav Huna's grandson. Rav Huna was not happy. You made me happy that you're tar. You broke my teeth. So Rashi explains that if the son, Rabba, would love his father, he would return the date to him. Why is he gifting the date to his own son? So you see that a person loves his son more than he loves his father. Which I don't get 100% because Rav Huna gave him a date, he gave him a gift, and he gave the gift on. Unless it's not proper and it's not respectful to take a gift that somebody gives you. Here, Yishkayach, I have to see this gift. Yishkayach. Oh, I did not see this tie, but hold on 1 second. It's beautiful. Ooh. Taka Choshev, Stefano Ricci. But you know what? I'm taking this gift, I'm giving it to him. That's not respectful. It's not respectful. I'm going to keep it.
He bought it.
Givaldik.
I know your colors.
I don't know what it is. It's Givaldik. Stefano Ricci. Beautiful. All right. We'll add it to the collection. This one I'll wear, Be'ez Hashem.
I'll have nachos, and you'll have nachos that I have nachos.
Okay. But there's a rotation. It's a 3-month rotation. Don't expect to see it every week.
Oh, I'll buy more.
Gaiva. No.
It'll be a 4-month rotation.
Yeah, exactly. It's just gonna. Rachme da Abba Abni. You are watching, I know. Rachme da Abba Abni. So a father loves his son. Rachme dibnei abnei. But the son of the father loves his own son. Could be the pshat is. I'm not saying my own pshat. Not to answer my question, but first of all, we know that when you give to somebody else, that creates love. So a father gives to a son never gives to the father. A son always takes from the father, right, Mati? That's how it works.
Not my father.
That's how it is. It's just nature. So the more you give someone, the more you love him. And the kid just takes, and he gives over to his, and it's possible that that's how human history started. Other Rishon didn't have a father, so he never had anybody to respect. He gave his own kids, and his kids saw that. His kids saw that he was giving them, but he didn't give anybody from the generation before. Okay, whatever it is. I don't have a clock, Gershon. How long are we going already over here?
30 minutes.
Oy vey. I do have to say, Yishkoyach also, there's a lot of people behind the scenes. You don't even know. I made a list. I set out 45 people, and I even forgot Shalom Rand. He didn't even make it to the list. But there are a lot of people there, including, especially, we have to talk about Yosef Biliak, who stays up very, very late now that I'm in America. He has to do it. So him, Yoshi, he's been working mamish through the clock, through the day and night, coming up with new art for Gitin and for the Sotah book, and for you'll see tomorrow. There's a bunch of stuff that he put together. So Yishkar him also. There's a lot of people. The Sound Gans, you'll see Klein. We're not gonna tomorrow. We'll talk about all of them. Says the Gemara. We said this. This is a very, very sad line here. Rav Acha took care of the son of his sister, his grandson, the son of his daughter. Kigodal, when his grandson grew up, and he grew up in his house, and he gave him everything. Omar lei ashkim maya, please get me a cup of water. What did he say? Omar lei la barachana, I'm not your son. Go get water from somebody else. So the guy brings him up for 20 years, and even a cup of water he doesn't want to give him. Very, very sad. I mean, we're also a little bit guilty of this with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us and gives and gives us. Sometimes we don't give it back. But I saw a pshat here, I don't remember who says it, that he was learning Torah. And in the middle of learning, his father told him, go get me a cup of water. So he said, listen, I'm not mechuyev in kibbud aveim. I don't know exactly how it works, because I don't know if you stop learning Torah for kibbud aveim, but let's say you do. So he was telling him, in this situation, I can't get you water because you're not my real father, and Torah comes first, something like that. Okay. Otherwise, it's a very sad line, kind of. Rabbi, bring me up, and then you should know, I'm not even going to respect you because I'm only your grandson. Says the Mishnah, the Heilige Mishnah, sponsored by Moshe Cohen, schos for Parnasa, Tzlacha, and all good Zachen. When Aspasionos was ruled Yerushalayim, Gozra al Torah's Chasanim Valairos, they said the Chasanim can't wear whatever the thing they used to wear around on their head. Valairos, we're going to see what it is. And then later on, Bepumish Titos, Gozra al Torah's Kalis, and the Kal can no longer wear whatever they wear on their head. So you can't learn Yavanis. You can't learn Greek. We're going to see the crazy story in the Gemara. And later on, the next time they conquered Yerushalayim, so here's an apirion. This could be one apirion right over here. It's basically a chariot, some sort of, either it's enclosed or not enclosed. Let's say it's not enclosed. For argument's sake, we could say it's closed also. We'll see in a second. So it's not proper for it to go out with an apirion in the city. Now the Mishnah is going to discuss when this one died, this thing happened. So when Remeir was nifter, we just had the other day that Remeir, 1/3 of his Torah was a mashal, 1/3 was a gata, 1/3 of this. So there's no more people that could make mishalim, with the foxes and the different mishalim. He was the master in mishalim. Mishamei's ben Azai, batlu ashakdarim. Who's ben Azai, Rabbi Isai? Ben Azai, according to many shittas, he never got married. And even if he got married, he got divorced. And when they said, how could you do this? You said that whoever doesn't have children is chayiv misa. He says, what should I do? Choshka nafshi b'Torah. So, Ben Azai is choshka nafshi b'Torah. He's a shaktan. He's a tremendous masmid. So once he was nifter, we don't have anybody like him. Mishameis ben Zayma batlu adar shanim. No more drashas. Mishameis Rebbe Kiva batal k'foida Torah. Because Rebbe Kiva used to darshan tile halachas on each tag and each ois. So he gave the most covet to the Torah. To say that the Torah doesn't even have a single extra, kutzah shel yud doesn't have any extra. So if you look in Rashi, he brings the 3 stories that the neighbor complained that the beams in their ceiling weren't long enough, so he said something and they grew. His daughter said that she poured the vinegar instead of the oil. He said, Misha, Omar Lashem Vidla, fine. Those, the three mice is over there. The story with his sheep grazed and they falsely accused him of grazing on their. So he said, if it's true, Rashi says they'll bring wolves on their horns, bears, wolves. Fine. So Chanina ben Doisa, famous. He said she's dead, not dead. All these stories in Shas. Mishemeis Rabbi Yosi Katan Sa Pasku Chasidim. No more Chasidim after Rabbi Yosi. Katnasa Shel Chasidim. He was the smallest one, and that's it. Once he was nifter, it was the end of it. Mishemeis Rabbi Yochanan Zakai Batul Ziva Chachma. Rashi says, I don't know what that is. Mishemeis Rabbi Gamliel Azakim Batul Kvoda Torah. They stopped. They used to learn Torah standing up. The whole day they were standing up, but people got weak, says Rashi, so that's it. They sat down. Umeisa Taharo preachers. No more Taharo, no more preachers. Mr. Meis Rabbi Shmuel ben Pavi, Batal Ziva Kuhuna. He was a big Talmud Chacham, very wealthy, and he used to have a lot of kohanim sitting by his table. Mr. Meis Rebbe, Batla Anava, V'yiras Chet. The Pella is that Rebbe wrote the Mishnah. So Rebbe says about himself, when Rebbe died, he can't write that. He didn't die. He can't write it if he died. So somebody else wrote it. Later on, later generation, they wrote. Mishemeis Rebbe, Batla Anava, V'yiras Chet. Torah Rabbanon. Then the Beis Hamikdash was necharav. Then the Chaverim, then on a high level, they were ashamed. And the people with good actions, they dwindled down. The tough guys and the Balei Lashon Hara, they were the ones in control. Nobody asked, nobody cares. We should sing the song. Anachnu ma'aminim v'nei ma'aminim ve'ein lanu ami le'ishoel Elo Avinu shebashamayim Anachnu ma'aminim v'nei ma'aminim ve'ein lanu ami le'ishoel Elo Avinu shebashamayim Hey, Lora Milishoen, Alavinu Shubashamayim. Amilon Milishoen, Alavinu Shubashamayim. Rabbi Lezer Godel, who's Rabbi Lezer Godel? Rabbi Lezer. V'yoyim Shchor Beis Hamikdash, Shorich Hakimayim Mehevi Kisafraya. The Chachamim went down to Madrega. They became like Melamde Tinoikis, like a Rebbe Cheder. Kisafraya, Chazanayo, and the Melamde Tinoikis became like Chazanim, the ones in charge of Shul, Chazanayo, Ka'amad Aro. Everybody dropped. V'amad Aro, and the Amaratzim. Ozla, Vedildala, Bein Shoyel, they also dwindle down. There's nobody takes account. Ami Yesh Li Shoen, Alavinu Shebashamayim, sponsored by Greg Haber for Bracha, Tzach, Parnas, Brios, from the entire family, Rav Eli, and everyone learning the Daf. B'ikvais Mashiach, at the end of Galus, when Mashiach comes, Chutzba Yazge. This Rabbi said, I thought, no, this Mamish Ikvis of the Mashiach. What other generation do they have that children have zero respect for their parents? They have no respect for the elders, no respect for the Rabbeim, right? This is our generation. But what's funny is that 800 years ago, the Rishonim said, "Oh, this is the biggest raya that Mashiach is coming in our generation." That's what they thought 800 years ago. They haven't seen anything yet. V'yoker yamer. There's going to be a lot of inflation. Agefen, where are we? Agefen titem period v'hayayim b'yoker. It's unbelievable. The Chavetz Chaim always used to talk about the time of Mashiach. Somebody asked him, said, "But we're not roy. There was generations before us that were much greater, and they were roy." So the Chavetz Chaim said an amazing thing. He said that Klal Yisrael there's a gzeira on Klal Yisrael, how much pain and suffering they're going to have. And he said, it's very possible that we in our generation, because of all the pain and suffering, the Chavetz Chaim said, we broke the tipping point. We're the ones. We got that extra. It's not the good deeds, but it's the Yisurim that we have. And he said this before the Shoah. That's what he said. All right. Says, yeah. Okay, we could do this in 5. Wine is very expensive. Why is wine very expensive? Even though there's a lot of grapes, because people are drinking too much, says Rashi. There's a lot of parties. And the kingdom turns into apikarsim, and you can't give musar to anybody, because if you're going to give musar to somebody, he'll turn around and look at you and say, you're worse than me. Beis vadya liznus. Place where they learn Torah, and usually outside of the city, is going to be a perfect place for znus. Nobody learns Torah there anymore, and they're going to use it for the wrong thing. These are places. Galil is going to be destroyed. The Gavlon is going to be desolate. They're going to go from city to city, and they won't. What's the word? I wrote it down here, but I can't read my own handwriting. The Chochma Seifim Tisrach. The Chochma of the scholars is going to decay. And the people that have Yerushalayim are going to be belittled by other people. They're going to be nimas in them. Ugh, disgusting, you chanyak, you. And the truth is going to go missing. And youngsters are going to embarrass the elders. I think it's Rabbi Yisrael Salanter. Maybe it's 2 other Gedolim was sitting, and they were walking, and they saw 2 yeshiva guys, and the yeshiva guys didn't stand up for them. So one of them turned to the other. I think whoever it was turned to Rabbi Yisrael Salanter and said, "Look, this is the Dar of Mashiach. We're walking by, and they don't even stand up." So he said, "No. The Dar of Mashiach is when we are sitting, and when they walk by these Bachrim, we are going to stand up for them. That's the Dar of Mashiach, and that's here in the Mishnah." It's a generation where everything is fakert. The elders are going to stand up and give kavod to the youngsters. Bei menavel of, and the son is menavel the father. I don't even know what a good word for it is. Belittles him and is menavel him. Bas kama beima. A daughter stands up against her mother. Kala b'chamoisa. A daughter-in-law to a mother-in-law. Oive ish anshe beisoi. A person's own enemies are the people of his family. Pnei ador ki pnei hakelev. The face of the generation is the face of a dog. Haben enu izbayish me'aviv. No busha. I don't know about you guys. I think in our generation it was different. We didn't do a lot of stuff because we didn't want to hurt our father. Remember that? Still today, I don't want to hurt my father either. He doesn't know I had to give a Daf Yomi shir. He thinks I'm learning biyun all day.
My father also same thing.
I don't know. I just see a lot of people that it's just a lot of the new generation. They don't care what the father thinks. It doesn't bother. It just never occurred to them that they have to care about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm making it up. Now, Rabbi, if you look on the bottom of the page, you're not going to believe this. This is one of those hugs from Hashem. Mamish, a hug from Hashem. On this page, it says on the bottom, some people add this part, this famous Repichas ben Yara Omer. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Zehirus mevil de zrizos, zriz mevil de nekius mevil de taharo, tahar mevil de precious mevil de kedusha, ukdusha mevil de anov, anov mevil de yiras ched mevil de chasidus. Is anybody familiar with this? Huh? Where? The whole Mesilas Yesharim is based on this. Yeah? So what's the hug from Hashem? It's the Mesilas Yesharim's yahrzeit today.
Wow.
Look at this. I have his caver here. The Ramchal, Rosh Hashanah today, right now. After Shkia. It's after Shkia. It's his yahrzeit. This whole sefer, the whole Mesilas Yesharim goes through precious reasons. That's the whole sefer. Shamshi, they didn't do Mesilas Yesharim YU? No Moser. Wow. Yeshiva Bach in the back. What's your name, Tzaddik? Yeah, no, the guy that's screaming out the Ramchal. You, all the way in the back. Zach? Hawk? Like the bird? Shalom Aleichem. Beautiful. Okay, he knew it. He learns it. Says the Gemara, Omer Rav, Lo Yishanu Elo Shel Melech V'Gofers. This that the chassan no longer wears that thing around his head is we're talking about the one made out of salt and sulfur, and they used to etch in it stuff. Aval Shel Hadas V'Shel Vered. If you look at those pictures, you know of the Romans, the men used to wear the myrtle around the head. So you're allowed to wear that. This is very girly in my opinion, but okay, if you want to wear some roses, mutter, it says. Shel Vered mutter. Shmuel Omer, Avshal Das Shel Vered also, since this is the Churban Abayis, you don't wear the roses anymore. Shel Konim, Shel Chilas mutter, you want to wear some reeds, that's okay. So, just real quickly, because we have plenty of time, but it's Erev Shavuos, almost. And I said this Vart like 2 years ago, Shavuos. I want to say it now also because it just fits right in here. It's just, and I remember, what's his name, Rabbi Ari Ben Shushan, he said it over and it went viral or whatever. But it's a cool little Vart. At a chasana, how do you know who the Kala is? She's wearing a white dress. She looks like a Kala. And how do you know who the chassan is? He's the one that goes home with the Kala. So now that we're here by Shavuos, by Matan Torah, how do you know? In those days, you knew who the chassan was because he wore some funny roses and hadassim around his head. But how do you know who the chassan is? The one who goes home with the Torah. The one who says, I learned this year, I learned Geshmak, I learned almost every day. You're the chassan. You have the right to get up there in Shavuos and say, I'm the chassan with this Torah. V'chein Tani Levi b'masnisei afshel konim shechelis aser. Once the mikdash was nechrav, you can't wear anything on your head. Vali irus, no more irus. My irus. Omer v'lazar tavlo dechad puma. You can't even use. Rabbi Isa, you hear this? You can't even use a bell that has one clapper. Rabbi Ravuno vali lebrei tanbura. Here, I thought it was very cool. This is also a hug from Hashem. This is the first time in a shir since I started giving shir that somebody brought a tambourine into shir, and it just happens to be a word here in the Gemara. This is basically what it looks like, something like this. Oh, see that? Here, I put it in my picture. I have a picture of it. It's a little bit, but it's the same idea, right? But actually, this is better for me because this, the Gemara says you can't use. The Gemara says, what could you use? Osa vua tavre. Now, who's Rabbi Isai? Anybody remember these people here? Rabbi Ravuna made a chasana and he brought a tambura. He made not a chasana, he made one a tambura, like on the picture. Osa avua, Ravuna came and broke it. Who's Ravuna and who's Rabbi Ravuna? Anybody remember him? From?
The last moment.
That what?
With the date.
With the date. We just had a story with them with the date. Ravuna had a date and he gave it to his son Rabbi. Hold on, don't, not yet. Okay. You can't use your tambourine because people are going to get confused with a bell with one clapper. So I think it might look a little bit like this. I have no idea. It's just for, let's do this. One of these, because this is like a clapper, not a clapper. I don't know. But it says tambourine here. I don't know. I don't know what a tambourine is. Tambura. So comes Ravuna, I thought this is fascinating. Let's say Rabbi, Chaim Kanievsky, he's 50 years old, he makes a tambourine. Comes the stipler, 70 years old, takes it, smashes it, doesn't ask it, takes it, smashes it up. In our society, it's not acceptable. You don't talk nicely, time in, time out, you have to have the tools, you're breaking things. You took it and broke it. Why? Because you might get confused and might use something else that's a kli that's aser. That's why I think this is better. You should make something that's deeper. You see? This is deeper than this guy right over here. Something like that. That almost mamish hashgacha pratis that he brought it, no? Who brings it? One of these to share. Okay. only in the 5 towns. Bepomos shel titos gozra al Torah's kalos. My Torah's kalos. So I have a little bit of a picture. It's not the best picture, but this is from not Yoshi. I used to use him a lot. What's Yoni, the artist. It's some sort of a depiction of Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim Zav. Tainam Achi Ezat Torah's kalos Yerushalayim Zav. You can make some sort of something that's made out of wool. My chubas chasanim, like a canopy for chasanim, zahirisam zahavos, crimson with a little gold. Papyrus. You can make a canopy made out of lattice. You can hang anything you want. Here's a story. This is a sad story. Two brothers, the Gemara says, they had Hyrcanus and Aristobulus, brothers fighting over Yerushalayim. Who's going to rule Yerushalayim? They're fighting against each other, killing each other. Brothers are from Chashmonai. One brother was inside of Yerushalayim, was out. But they needed to put korbanos on the mizbeach. So they lowered money in a box over the wall to the enemy, and the enemy would take the money because they're Jewish, and they wanted korbanos in the mizbeach. They take the money, and they got the money from the lishkas, what is it called? No, the place where you have all the money for the tmidim. And they took the money, put it in a box, and then they took the money, put a sheep in the box, and they would pull the box up with the sheep. There was an elderly person inside Yerushalayim. He knew how to hint in Greek. He winked to them. The Gemara says, I forgot exactly how he did it with his eyes and this, and he did it with his nose. You guys have a big problem. As long as they're being makriv korbanos beis hamikdash, you'll never beat them. So they did the same thing. They put money in the box, lowered the box. And what did they put in the box? Rabbi Isai, they put a pig inside the box. When the pig reached half of the wall, not siparnov, he put his nails into the wall. He got scared. The entire Israel shook from the anger of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So they made a gzeira. First of all, you're not allowed to bring up davar acher in Eretz Yisrael. And you're not allowed to teach your son how to talk Greek. They used to bring the Omer from very close to Yerushalayim. Now they had to go very far because everything was burnt down. Don't speak Sursi, speak Greek. So it says Mefurish you should speak Greek. Why do you have to speak Aramaic? It's much finer, it's much nicer, it's a beautiful language. Lashon Yivanis says the Gemara, Lashon Yivanis l'chud, you can teach your kids Greek. The Chachmas Yivanis l'chud, we don't want you to teach the hinting of Greek. The Chachmas Yivanis mi'asira, and even hinting is it also from Rabbi Yehuda, Shmuel, Mishum ben Gamliel, Madachsiv, my father had 1,000 children. 500 learned Torah. So you see, 500 learned the chachma of Greek, not just the language of Greek. So it's not a problem. I don't know if there's a rai or not. It's the okay. All 1,000 died besides 2. So the question is, how could Rabbi Gamliel teach his kids Greek after the Gzeira? Shani Beis Rabbi Gamliel, the Krevul Malchus Haber. Since they were close to the kingdom, they needed to speak their language. If you do something like this, terrible. Look at this haircut. That's a koimi. Everything is shaved besides a ponytail on the back. That's also. But they let one person do that. Shukar v'lamachos should be shukar v'lamachos because he's close to the kingdom. Therefore, all Rabbi Gamliel's kids they learned Greek because he was close to the king. So if we go back to this picture, so either it was open and they said they shouldn't bring her around the city like that because it's not tznius, or it's closed and they said put her in a closed one because it's tznius. So Rashi says that he knew he was a barshim she'em abed tipa. The Rashi doesn't bring it, but the Gemara says other places that whatever he learned he remembered. But listen to this. He says, 3,000 halachas in the planting of gourds. And I know 300 halachas. Kids, he knew thousands of halachas in the smallest minute things. Says the Gemara. So Memela, once he was nifter, the whole Sefer Torah, the whole Torah was buried. Once Rabbi Yeshua was nifter, no more Eitz Machshava. Rabbi Kiva batlu Zroy Torah, Rabbi Kiva, again, because he used to darshan on the smallest oisios. We know that Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah is very, very wealthy. His meiser of just animals, he had a lot of stuff, but just his animals was 12,000 animals a year. So if you do the cheshbon, you look it up, how much does a little cow cost? Like $300, let's say. So you're talking about $4 million of meiser behema, just the meiser. Forget about what he himself owned. I mean, he gave 12,000, that means he had 120,000 new animals every year. Besides all the boats and all the real estate he owned. Shataris Chachamim Ashram. Mishamez Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa Badu Anshemaisa, that we said all the stories. Mishamez Avi Yosef ben Kednus Badu Chasidim Velam Nikra Shmoy Avi Yosef ben Kednus Shoyev Miktane Chasidim, we said. Mishamez ben Azai Badu Hashakdanim, we said. Mishamez ben Zoima Badu Adar Shonim, Mishamez ben Rishim ben Gamliel, Ola Gavoy Rabbi Tzares. The locusts came and there was many, many more Tzares. Mishamez Rebbe Huchbalu Tzares. And we'll stop right over here. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.